Hi guys, and in today's video, we'll be talking about 5 tips for first-time home buyers. I'm Aubrey.
And I'm Matt.
And we're with the Coastal Confidence, a New England lifestyle blog, brand, and now YouTube channel. Recently, Matt and I purchased our first home about a month ago, and today we're going to sit down with you all and share our 5 tips on how to maneuver this slightly stressful situation. We're going to keep it short and sweet for you all, and we're also going to insert some images from back then from Instagram stories so you guys can kind of see real-time footage as well. So Tessa's gonna roll a few tapes and we're gonna jump right in. So our first tip is getting pre-qualified and figuring out your mortgage, basically. It's very confusing when you first start off what your first step should be, but I think the first step and the first tip is getting pre-qualified. That will help you in your search for a home because then you know what you can afford and what your budget is, which is really important because we don't want anyone to get in over their heads. With that being said, there's a bunch of different ways to get in mortgages and ways to go about getting a mortgage. I was lucky enough to take finance in college. If you have the opportunity, I highly recommend it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know why he's laughing because I did know what they were talking about. But basically, all you have to do is, kind of don't be intimidated when you go into a mortgage meeting. They're really trying to help you buy your first home. You're gonna have to get all your assets and all your documents aligned and scanned in. There's a great app to do that with as well. I think it's called iScan on your iPhone if you don't own a scanner. So that's awesome. And then when you go into the meeting, they're gonna give you a bunch of different kinds of mortgages. Take it all in, take it home, think about it, think about what you want to get out of your home, how long you're going to be there, if you're going to need mortgage insurance, am I or not. Those are all important things to think about, and I would definitely say that is the place you should start, and it might be the most intimidating place. I think that's probably...
I think it's just a lot of...
It's a lot of big numbers being thrown at you, but...
It gets stressful and you get bombarded with things you need. They ask you for documents and taxes and tax returns and your statements from your bank, so it's a lot you need to have on you, but I think the most important thing is do your homework, know your research.
And also lean in, ask questions, be present. Don't I know sometimes when I get overwhelmed, I'll black out and I just won't ask any questions and I'll just say yep until we're done with the meeting and I can leave. But I think it's really important to be present in mortgage meetings. Ask questions about the rates and if you can pay onto your mortgage, add onto your mortgage. That's a big thing. I know there's a ton of courses. Matt and I took an online course about mortgages that helped as well. Definitely find a mortgagee or mortgager, right? A mortgager that can answer all your questions and is available. We had an amazing one. The money aspect, because a lot of people relate stress to money. So with that being said, I say do this step first. Get it off your bucket list, a little anxiety off your shoulders, and then continue the home buying process kind of smoothly. And
now you know what type of house that you can afford and get into, so.
Yeah. Okay, so tip number 2 is finding a realtor. Matt's gonna talk about this one.
Luckily, our realtor was a family friend, so that was kind of nice. So that's one option, is going through referrals. I think I'm a big component of referrals because now you're putting your trust in somebody that you trust already, so usually that person's gonna be pretty good. Another way of going about finding a realtor is just going online, reading the reviews. I'm a big review reader, so I like to go by the reviews. But no, really, so having a realtor, the most important aspect is kind of letting them know what you want. So you let them know, hey, I want to be in this town, this is the type of school districts I want, this is the type of neighborhood I want, and they're going to pinpoint all that down for you. So it kind of takes all the stress and everything off of your shoulders and puts it on them.
But I think more importantly, I didn't feel like we needed a realtor until we got to the closing part. Yeah,
so a lot of I know we talked about in previous videos, Aubrey and I were looking for houses on our own for all day, and I hated it. So I know a lot of realtors that actually bring you around in their car, so that's an option as well. But with us, our realtor handled everything, with the closing costs, the legal issues. So that was really nice, just kind of putting it, once we found the home that we wanted, we let her know, and then she just handled it.
Think of her as a business manager. She's in charge of corresponding with the lawyer, the mortgage lender, the
they put a lot on their plate.
The seller's realtor. They are literally in charge of organizing everything. Inspection, And that is really, really hard, basically, to get everyone on the same page.
And they're working 24/7. I was at the World Series, or not the World Series, one of the Red Sox playoffs games, and I was getting a call from her at like 9 o'clock at night. Yeah. So it doesn't end. So that's why I think the most important is being comfortable, so they can call you too. So I thought that was really cool.
Okay. So tip number 3 is what to So tip number 3 is what to expect when you head into inspection. So basically every house you look to buy is going to need an inspection. Our house, we bought it as is and we still had an inspection just so we knew what we were getting into. With that being said, our inspection went really poorly. And I think the only time maybe you can't have an inspection is in foreclosure. But that will be a story for another day. Our house was not a foreclosure, but we did buy it as is. And with that being said, when we stepped into the inspection, we kind of already knew of a lot of issues that we had to fix. But when we left the inspection, we found out about like 10 more issues that we realized that we really didn't inspect, we would have to fix.
So the most important part of an inspection is get someone that is very, very detailed.
Thorough.
So when we looked at the house, we were like, oh, everything's fine. Like, when the inspection came in...
No, we knew there were issues.
No, we knew there was issues, but, like, he looked at everything, and there were so many more issues. Of course, I was, like, stressed out about things.
And even now, we're finding more issues. Yeah. So, I mean, definitely take your inspection. Don't get too anxious about it, because worst comes to worst, you can always pull out of the house deal, and you know you're going to lose your initial cost of like cost of inspection, water tests, and all that, which is expensive. How much is it? Like $1,000?
I'd say when it's all said and done, like we had to do the radon test, like it's probably a little bit. Yeah, it's like $1,000.
Yeah, $1,000. So yeah, it stinks losing $1,000. But if $1,000 is gonna help you not end up in a money pit, then it's worth it. Exactly. So with that being said, we stepped in, we were buying this house as in, we found so many more issues, and we were like, okay, this is insane.
It wasn't cosmetic issues, it was issues with the house, like different things.
Yeah, water issues,
sewer stuff,
radon issues, sewer issues. I mean, there were a lot of issues that we did not know prior to the inspection. With that being said, after the inspection, we used that information to decide whether we wanted to continue with the house, renegotiate the price, even though it is as is, you can still do that after inspection, or just bail out of the deal altogether. Originally, we were considering bailing out of the deal, but after talking to our realtor and all of that, we realized that maybe we should try negotiating first. We were able to negotiate to kind of compensate our costs, basically, in fixing these issues. And we ended up going from not thinking we had a house to closing on it prior inspection.
This happened pretty quickly.
Again, if we had not done that inspection, we would have been stuck. I don't know why I said that so weird. If we had not done that inspection, then we would have been stuck with those costs.
I'd be $1,000 cheaper, and I'd be sleeping in my parents' house.
No, but we would have been stuck with so many issues. So
you have to do the inspection.
Find an inspector you like, and definitely know going into the inspection. I've heard horror stories, and then I've heard people who are like, it's no big deal. I think we were in the middle.
Yeah.
It was an issue, but we were able to resolve it. So know going into inspection that anything can happen. But you really do have tools to utilize, whether it's negotiating the price or, you know, pulling out of the deal.
After that inspection, I thought it was...
So first-time home buyers, don't be afraid of the inspection. Yeah. Also know that it could bring up issues you did not previously know.
It will.
And just know that there are tools to either solve or resolve what you're going through. Okay, so our fourth tip is very important, and it's one that Matt highly recommends, and it is checking out the neighborhood or area you want to buy in.
What's era? Okay, so anyway, so am I just gonna go?
Yeah, go. It's your tip. Take your tip away.
Yeah, so this sounds like so simple, it's like obvious, it's like so obvious, but the neighborhood where we actually bought our house, we went in there, I wasn't even thinking about anything. We started driving down the road and there's no cell phone service. So the most important thing, in my opinion, is like when you're at the house, check your cell phones and make sure that you have service, because people don't even realize that. They're looking at this house, oh my God, it's a dream house, and your parents or your friends aren't gonna be able to call you because you have no service.
Yeah, like literally down the road, there was absolutely no service. Like you get no text messages, no LTE. It literally said no service on the phone. We're not being traumatic. And with that being said, that means for someone like me who works at home, that there could be issues if I have conference calls at the house, or if I just need, an emergency, need to call someone, I would need to bring in a landline. And those are all things to think about too.
And you can use Wi-Fi obviously, but it's like when your friends come over, that one friend, what's your Wi-Fi password? Well, that's like, so their phone's not gonna work. But anyway, that's wicked important. Also is the neighbors. So you wanna make sure you have great neighbors. Obviously every house isn't gonna have the best neighbors. We got so lucky.
Yeah.
I was over there working on the house. Both my neighbors in the backyard and on the side came over. They're the nicest people. They're willing to work with us about different things. I'm trying to chop down bushes. We're so open. I'm cutting across their lawn. So we got very lucky with that. I've heard horror stories about neighbors where they're, in the backyard on their ATVs and having parties and everything else like that.
Yeah.
But they're the nicest people. So, and that's also an important part for when you're trying to sell the house too, is other people that are going to be moving in, they're going to be looking at what your neighbors are up to too. So that's why I think we're taking it upon ourselves for the house to really fix everything up on the outside.
Another thing to look at is also, does your area have gas lines or city water lines or city sewer lines? A way to tell if there are water lines, at least in Connecticut, is if your neighborhood has a, what are they called that the firefighters hook up to?
A fire
hydrant. If your neighborhood has a fire hydrant, they have city water. And then for city sewer, you can kind of tell if you look at the street and see where people have dug up. If you see patches by the side of the road near a house, then that's usually where a city sewer is. And then gas line, you obviously can ask the neighbors or you can ask the realtor. When we bought the house, our realtor wasn't sure if there was city water, city sewer, or gas. And we actually kind of had to investigate that on our own. But if you don't have a realtor, those are questions that you really need to have in your mind, especially gas. Some people only want gas lines because it's heats your home that way, and also for cooking, then you can have the gas range stove. We do not have gas. And this is kind of sad, but I didn't even realize that a gas range you needed gas. I just thought they were different types. Like,
you can get a gas range, get a propane tank and have it below it.
Yeah, but then you have to get a propane tank.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't realize that electric was different than the gas line oven. I mean, that's another story for another day.
She needs to watch this video for her tips.
But just know that if you have those thoughts in your head, that do think about gas, city, water, line.
But it's honestly the most simplest things to think about when you go to, like, just
They're easy
checking
to
your
find.
phone.
Yeah.
Also, think about, like, you might be looking at the house in the summertime. Think about, oh my God, am I going to be able to get up or down that hill in the winter?
Yeah, that's another thing to think about. I mean, just keep all those thoughts in your head when you're shopping for a home, because those are things that we literally didn't even think about until we were like closing. Anyways, so make sure you check out those options when you're looking for a home. So tip number 5 is how to manage stress throughout the home buying experience and different ways people manage stress.
I didn't realize how stressful it was really going to be.
This was a dividing house because you thought it was really stressful and I enjoyed every moment of it.
I'm just looking at them like, oh, we got to spend money on this and this.
I would rather buy a house 1,000 times over than go on a roller coaster. Like, going on a roller coaster to me is more stressful than buying a house.
Roller coasters are fun.
I hate roller coasters. I mean, I would rather... For me, this was not a stressful experience. The most stressful part was negative Nancy's. I'm a really positive person, so I was like, it's gonna work out. If it's meant to be, it's meant to be. We'll figure it out. And I think that caused some conflict between us. So if you're buying a home with a significant other, a friend or a sister, or anyone, just know that people are going to experience this experience in different ways. For me, I enjoyed it. I would do it again. I could do it all the time. I thought it was exciting. I like the negotiation, and I like all the quick deadlines. Like, it's a very fast-paced environment, and it's something that I really enjoy. But it's not something you really enjoyed.
No, I just thought it was pretty stressful. If you find one problem, then there's another problem. There's a bunch of problems, and maybe because
those were weighing you down. Like, you were finding.
I was the one dealing with a lot of the problems.
You were weighed down though by the problems. Like, a problem hit you and you Eeyore'd out. You were like, wah, 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 wah. Where I was like, well, can we fix it? How much can we fix it for? Let's figure it out.
When I found an issue, there was another issue. There was another issue. So to me, it was just so many issues. Where I was like, we'll fix it.
The sewer's blown? We can fix that.
Yeah, so I think the most important aspect of it, it's going to be stressful, whatever Aubrey says, it is going to be a stressful process. But like I said in tip number 3, whatever it was, every problem has a resolution. I think I find that a little bit harder to see, where Aubrey's more like a visionary, so she can see it. I don't. Once I see a problem, I see a problem.
I will always say, just like our intro, I'm like kind of big picture creative, and Matt is definitely operational. So I'll be like, okay, we can fix it. Here's the contacts, and then from there, like Matt takes over the project and like gets it done. So we're good in that aspect, but going through the home buying experience, especially as first-time home buyers, pause. Your whole life is not about buying your first house.
Go out and do something.
Go out and do something.
We would do that.
We would go to the movies a lot because we had to unplug our phones, so no one could call us. A mortgage lender couldn't call us. Our realtor couldn't call us. We would unplug our phones, and from there, we would really enjoy time together, not talking about the house. So on that note, make this experience as enjoyable as you can. And we are so thankful for all of you coming back and watching our channel. I hope this video provided you with some tips for buying your first home. On that note, make sure you subscribe. We will be here next Saturday with another Our House series video. And on that note, it will actually be a Matt themed video because he will be doing the outside demo. So you are gonna see him evolve the outside of the yard.
Been working every day.
Yeah, along with some of our architectural meetings. So on that note, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. It will be every Saturday, and we can't wait to see you guys back here. Bye.